Frankfort is located on the Kentucky River. The river makes an S-turn through the town and separates downtown Frankfort into north and south regions. So how did my hometown get the name Frankfort anyway? Records state that in 1786, James Wilkinson purchased the tract of land on the north side of the Kentucky River and established the town of Frankfort. The story is told that an early pioneer named Stephen Frank was killed by Native Americans at a ford in the river. As a result, the saying of crossing Frank's Ford is how the town got its name. So let's begin with the Kentucky River. The river was an important route for trade during the settlement era. The Cherokee and Shawnee Native American tribes were among the first to this region and used the river for resources and transportation. Settlement began here around 1780, and Daniel Boone is credited for discovering Kentucky. The river runs from eastern Kentucky through central Kentucky and on to northern Kentucky. It is joined by the Benson and Elkhorn Creeks and flows into the Ohio River. Frankfort did not have sidewalks for a long time, but the development of trade on the Kentucky River and the presence of the Kentucky state government helped to bring the community prosperity. The first half of the 19th century saw new forms of transportation, steamboats, improved roads, and the railroad. Methods of getting around Frankfort have included horse-drawn wagons, trolleys, and automobiles. The Singing Bridge opened to car traffic in 1894. The open grate floor was added in 1938. This is what causes it to sound as though it's singing.
This is the Singing Bridge. And in the background, you can see the old YMCA and the 2nd Street School.
The river has flooded several times, but the worst is said to be the flood of 1937. I can remember the flood that happened back in May 2010. My family and I took pictures. Liberty Hall was built in 1796 and served as the home of Kentucky's first U.S. Senator, John Brown. He was one of the 2 senators to represent Kentucky after joining the Union. In 1819, President James Monroe dined there with his aides, Zachary Taylor and Andrew Jackson. The first state capitol building was built in 1794, but burned down in 1813. The next Capitol building was built in 1816, and it too burned down in 1824. Finally, in 1830, what is now known as the Old Capitol was built, and it remained the state's capital for the next 80 years. Kentucky Governor William Goebel was assassinated at this site. In 1849, Frankfort achieved the status of a city, and in 1850, the city added South Frankfort. The old capital was outgrown, so a new capital was built in 1910 across the river in South Frankfort. The interior of the Capitol Rotunda is made of white, gray, and green marble. The entrance of the Capitol features the word Kentucky spelled with a V instead of U. This represents the Roman alphabet because it didn't have the letter U in it. In addition to the capitals, there are the governor's mansions. The executive mansion serves as the residence for the governor, but also hosts Christmas, Halloween, and Easter events for kids. I can remember attending these when I was younger. The lieutenant governor's mansion was the original governor's mansion from 1798 to 1914 and served as the lieutenant governor's mansion up until 2002. The old library was opened in 1887 as a federal courthouse. It then served as a post office before becoming Frankfort's library. The new library was opened next door in 1835. The old Franklin County Courthouse was built by the same man who built the old Capitol building. The courthouse was remodeled in 1909, and an addition was made in 1949. The new courthouse was just dedicated in February of 2014. The Daniel Boone grave site is located in the Frankfort Cemetery, but it is not known for sure that if his remains are located there, or if they actually reside in Missouri. Fort Hill is a historic battleground here. It sits on a very high hill overlooking downtown Frankfort. During the American Civil War, Union soldiers built forts on Fort Hill. In 1864, local soldiers held off an attack by the Confederate cavalry raiders. An important part of Frankfort's economy during the late 1800s and early 1900s was hemp production, both growing the plant and processing the fibers into finished products. This industry is no longer here, but the General Assembly is currently debating whether or not to bring it back into production. The hemp rake was an important tool used to process the hemp plants into rope, canvas, and cloth. Distilleries such as Buffalo Trace have always been big for downtown Frankfort's economic development. The Rebecca Ruth Candy Store was founded in 1919 and family operated for almost 100 years. Miss Ruth was the inventor of the famous bourbon balls. McGee's Bakery opened in the mid-1960s and was run by the Schwartz family up until 2012, when it was then sold to the Burson family from Virginia. My brother and I love their donuts. The Grand Theater was originally built in 1911. It was restored in 2009. The Capital City Museum was opened in November of 2004. The museum is located in what remains of the 150-year-old Capitol Hotel building, which burned down in 1917. I interviewed Mr. Charles Metcalf, and he was very helpful in my journey to learn about what makes downtown Frankfort special. Over 200 years of events are documented here. The Kentucky Historical Society is a museum of Kentucky's prehistoric times to the present. Today, the History Center has the world's largest collection of Paul Sawyer paintings and the original watch owned by Abraham Lincoln. You can actually hear it ticking. One of their coolest displays is the car of a former governor. Well, don't you agree that a day in the life of downtown Frankfort is the greatest? Hope you enjoyed and plan to visit soon. See ya!